What credit score do you need to buy a house? We're going to talk about that and more, and we're getting started right now. Hey, welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Emmett Dempsey, mortgage broker and owner of Treasure Coast Mortgage here in Port Saint Lucie. On this channel, we talk more about mortgages, the home buying process, and some cool things around Port Saint Lucie and the Treasure Coast. So if you're new here, please think about subscribing. Okay, what credit score do you need to buy a house? Now, I always joke with my clients is that the answer to everything in mortgages is it depends, and that's definitely true. Really, it depends on your loan type, how much money you have, and all those different things come into factor. But generally, a rule, the minimum credit score for any mortgage is generally 500. Okay, so 500 will be the general low FICO. However, for most normal mortgages, really the minimum FICO is going to be around 620, 640 or so. That's kind of a good sweet spot to be in. The minimum for FHA loans is 580 to put 3.5% down. With a 500 to 579, you can put down 10%. So if you have, so it depends on you as an individual borrower. So if you have a lot of money to put down, so in FHA with a lower FICO score, you can offset that lower FICO score. So generally, also if you had a short sale or bankruptcy, there are loans called non-QM loans, and I did a video on that as well. The non-QM, one day at a short sale, one day at a bankruptcy, down to 500 FICO, but you got to have a lot of cash. You got to have at least 20, 30% or more to put down, and then it offsets that. But for most lower down payment loans, I do purchase refinance, 3.5%, 5% down or so. At least a 620, and really higher the better. And one of the side effects of COVID that I've been telling my clients is that credit score is more important than ever. Really, I've seen FHA loans even below 700, with pricing that just doesn't make any sense. Where basically you're paying points no matter what. If you're a 699, and 1 point, yes, 1 point does make a difference. I've seen 639 loans be priced like a whole full point than the 640 loan. It's crazy when you look at it. There's no hard and fast rule where if you're a 639 you're this, 640 you're this. 640 is one of those magic barriers where pricing changes. 640, then 660, 680, 700, etc. And even with some 800 credit score borrowers, which is a very, very good credit, a lot of that pricing doesn't have what's called yield. Basically, when you see those low-cost loans or very good rates with no points, a lot of that is kind of going by the wayside just in lieu of COVID because of what happened with all the forbearances. One of the side effects of the CARES Act from COVID was it allowed unrestricted forbearances. So you had these servicers who had no idea how they were getting paid on mortgage payments, and they had to pay the bondholders. So it changed the whole mortgage market. So the answer to the question, what's the minimum credit score? It's really as good as you can get. But for general 3.5% down FHA loans, I usually recommend try and target 640. That bare minimum for the 3.5%, it's 580. And for the general minimum, it's 500. So here's a video right here. If you take a look at that, I'll go over some more information about credit scores. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.